Welcome to another episode of Sri Shakti series at the Coffee Conversation Show powered by the Emerging India Forum TF and a tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Theme is Policy, Power and Possibility, the Woman Building Intelligence. In today's evolving regulatory landscape, staying ahead of policy change is no longer optional. It's strategic. We have a guest speaker, Tripti Bansal, founder of PolicyIndex.ai, building a powerful bridge between policy, intelligence, and technology. Our platform enables public affairs and legal teams to move from manual tracking to structured AI driven insights. Leadership experience at Amazon, American Express. Tripti's journey reflects resilience, reinvention, and bold entrepreneurship. Featured in the Times of India and incubated at NSRCEL, IM Bangalore, and She Builds AI ISB. She represents the true essence of Sri Shakti, building with intelligence, courage, and conviction. And we also come to know Tripti as a person. So, welcome, Tripti, to today's Coffee Conversation episode.
Well, thank you so much, Amir, for having me here and giving me this opportunity. So lovely, to be part of this conversation.
So, let me explain you. There'll be three rounds: professional, personal, and a surprise. The rapid fire round, where you'll be the hot seat and you as inspiration, AI in
Okay.
the corporate workforce. So, let's begin the first round. Friend line Amir Virani, host at Coffee Conversation, Legal Tech Evangelist, Prime Infotech Solution, author of 20 books. So my first question, what inspired you to build PolicyIndex.ai, and what gap did you see in the policy ecosystem, and how has journey been till date?
Well, thank you so much, Amir, for this question. So a lot of people have actually, asked me like what motivated me, to start Policy Index and why this particular domain, and especially when I don't really even come from policy background. So my background has largely been marketing and strategy roles and everything across the corporate career. But when I was, the journey to Policy Index, I think, has been the build up for my for whatever I've studied and whatever I've done in corporate or as part of my professional work. So when I was working with Amazon, that's when I realized the power of AI. Back then, AI was not really a buzzword, right? Like it was used at Amazon in a very strategic manner. Like they used to identify. So I was leading their internal marketing platform for the EU marketing. And then I was working very closely with the US team who was working very much deeply into AI. And that's when I realized that how mundane marketing stuff, like how to write a copy, how to do that A/B testing, etc., could be done in such a fast manner, which could actually result in very positive business outcome at a very, very fast speed, right? And that got me interested into AI a lot. And I kind of like started understanding what it is, how we can use and it's no more like a fancy word to us. And that got me really interested. And I also have my master's into environmental education. That's what gave me a lot of insights into like how an ecosystem is connected, right? It's just not, when we talk about agriculture, then it's just not agriculture, like farmer growing something, how the entire thing is tied up. Like there are different stakeholders, there's government, there's civil society, think tanks, etc., how everything is basically connected. And that's how we see. And then markets, how we actually see how we get food onto our plate, right? And how these different ecosystem players kind of affect everything. And when I started thinking about launching my own startup, all of this started kind of taking shape into this. And eventually Policy Index was started. And before starting up, I also reached out to the policy community, the heads of regulatory affairs, government affairs. Surprisingly, all were so welcoming. Though I was not part of the community, they took me in their fold, and like they just welcomed me with open arms, gave me a lot of their inputs, told me that 20% of their work week is being just spent in tracking like what's being published by the government. And the sheer chaos is that everything is being published across various sectors. So it's just not, like something is getting posted on LinkedIn, something is posted on WhatsApp, something is, people are going manually hunting for different, gazettes, drafts, circulars, n number of, documents. So while I was sitting, understanding the problem, I realized that this is something which is solvable, and hence, PolicyIndex.ai was born. And now it has, become a platform where we cover entire India, central government ministries, departments, and regulators. Now we have presence in 7 states. So we have data for 7 states within our platform. People can search, set up alarms, even do a lot of, contextual research to understand how this is going to impact their own business.
That's interesting. So let's build the conversation, Tripti. How does AI-driven policy intelligence change the way public affairs teams operate?
So currently, how public policy work is usually happening is very manual. Like, there is usually a team who is manually going and, finding out what the information is. They have their own, trackers, which are either built in Excel, saved in some shared drive. They have a regular, cadence where they go on and refresh, government websites, to find out if anything relevant has come up. Then they're part of multiple WhatsApp groups so that they can ensure that nothing is getting missed out and everything or something is available. So or they're continuously refreshing LinkedIn, following news articles, etc., right? But this is not really an efficient way. Then these people who are supposed and trained to be strategic thinkers to make about a change, rather they are spending their time in just hunting their for this information. And then added to it, like, there is so much of cognitive load. Like in today's world, when we talk about it, like even I have like some, I don't know, hundreds of unread emails, but I still keep them unread, thinking that one day I will read, right? And it's always at the back of my mind. Then hundreds of WhatsApp messages every day, especially in the group, which I kind of archive and then kind of reread. And then, but in this chaos, I can't really, sometimes I miss the important information. I miss responding to stuff. I miss kind of linking what could link to what. That's where policy index comes into place, where it's simplifying everything. So here we have everything only and only from the government sources. That is what we have been very very clear from day one, that there will be nothing which will be outside of the government source. So anything that is being published by government of India would be here, so that people know that this is true and authentic, and that cognitive load could be reduced. It's not written by Tripti Bansal or XYZ person, but rather from the source of the truth, right? That's where the information would be coming from. Then everything is very systematic. You can search, you can access the original document, you can set up alerts, and then daily emailer will go, so that you only get information which is right for you. And that's it. Like, that's how it will help, for public policy people to focus on the work that they're actually trained and inspired to do.
Wow. So, Tripti, how do you ensure credibility and grounded AI in a world full of automated outputs?
Well, thank you so much, for this question. And actually, a lot of people, also ask us this, like, especially, people compare us with, like ChatGPT can do this, Gemini can do this, I have been doing this, X, Y, Z, right? But one thing that really, kind of differs us from everything is our commitment to being, grounded and responsible. So we
Mm.
approach it in, a manner that our database is 100% only and only from the government sources. So you will not find any of the opinion pieces or research
Mhm.
articles or anything, it will be only and only which is published by Government of India, whether it's a draft, whether it's a gazette, whether it's a consultation paper, order, notice, basically anything. So this ensures that whatever you are reading is out there. Then we also believe in transparency, right? So we do that in 3 ways. One is that we give access to the original document. So right within our platform, you can access the original document, right? Second is
Mhm.
references. We always cite the source. Like if a person is using the research agent, they'll be able to access the original document. We give the exact references, like from these 5, 10 documents, we have prepared this report, right? And the third is that all of this is completely grounded in the policy index database itself. So you will not find anything taken from XYZ. And so yeah, that's how we ensure that there is complete transparency and complete grounding of the information.
Wow. So, Tripti, how do you balance innovation with responsibility when building policy index AI system, what do you say, AI platform?
So you meant like innovation and responsibility while I'm delivering this?
Yeah, I mean, how do you balance innovation with responsibility? Because yeah, your you have answered some part. Now let's build it up with E because that policy index AI. There is some innovation going on, and there is, as you said,
Yes,
credibility is there. You're giving those references. So now you're bringing how you bringing innovation. This is for the startup founders who are building AI tools. So you have to match both
correct.
innovation with responsibility. It is not कि भाई मैंने innovation ला लिया, but there is no credibility, no responsibility,
Absolutely.
and अपना ये रिया because your data now privacy, so many things.
Correct. So when I started Policy Index, I was very clear that the work that policy professionals do is very, very important, right? And their work is completely, like there is no meaning to their work if whatever they are referencing to is incorrect or partial or not true or just an opinion. So opinions, etc., are basically a product of their thinking, but their thinking shouldn't start from that product, right? Hence, the North Star in our organization is that anything that we do, any innovation that we do, right, it goes like in every part of our DNA that nothing would be um, biased. Nothing. We are a non-partisan platform, so we don't give out opinions saying that this is correct, that is correct, right? Everything is grounded into the government documents itself. We have built in a lot of guardrails. So, for example, our chatbot would not say or amplify that, like, oh, I couldn't find this, but maybe are you interested in this? This is how it will relate, like, how the other chatbots kind of work. It will just very in a plain like English language, it will say, sorry, I don't know. Sorry, I couldn't find it. Even it might look that, oh, we don't know this information, but that's okay. Uh, incorrect info no is also the right answer, but an incorrect information just to please the reader is not the right response.
Wow. So my next one, what does scaling a SaaS platform in India require today? This is for all startup founders. You will be talking to them. Capital, community, or conviction?
That's a very tough question, to answer and choose between one. I'm actually tempted to choose all three because, like
Damn.
without all
Okay.
three, it's very, very hard, to build a startup and that to a SaaS-based platform, which requires, a community, conviction, and, like capital. So conviction is something that keeps me going in this. And I think for every startup founder, if you don't have that, I think every startup founder has it. That's why they're actually starting their company or their venture. Then community, it's very important, for a SaaS-based platform. And I've been very, very, persistent about it. Considering my LinkedIn community that I've been able to build and the kind of credibility that I've been built over this last one maybe 15, 16 months of me starting this. And kudos to this incredible community of public affairs, government affairs, team who have like really kind of took me under their fold and like accepted me as one of their own, and like being part of it. And then capital, so we all require capital, but I am at a stage where I think it will just fuel it. But yeah, without capital, no conviction, no community could probably help build a business. So
So for viewers out there, especially the startup founders, if someone wants to get incubated, and how
hmm.
you have been incubated. So what is the your process steps? My first part, and being part of an incubation center. What are other benefits a startup gets?
So the first step is, I think, so right now, Indian startup community and ecosystem is very thriving, and you will find a lot of incubators doing, a lot of stuff. So my one tip for any upcoming startup who's trying to look for incubation is try to look for the right partner. So incubation partner is also a partner where you will also invest time. It's just not the other way, like they will just invest time, but you will also invest time. which will eventually define how you kind of progress and think. So first think, are they in your sector? Are they also working with similar like-minded, organization? Do they have those kind of people on their board or as part of the mentors who can, help you kind of solve your problems and scale? And so when I talk about my NSR cell journey, it has been a very different one. So it differs a lot from the normal incubation centers, which are primarily now just, offering co-working space, for example. They don't offer anything. They don't take equity also. So that was, I think, one of my most important factor, to choose that it is a women-centric program. They understand, when a woman is building it, it's very different, to how a male founder is kind of building it. Then they also understand, they also have a robust panel of like mentors who actually helped in building a tech or a SaaS or an AI based platform. So that's, I think, probably things that people can look for while choosing an incubator partner.
Wow. So my next one about challenges. What
Yeah.
challenges did you face as a woman founder, especially a woman tech founder in AI and policy tech space?
Huh. So, okay, so I, okay, so frankly, I haven't really, encountered as such, the typical or the well, like known things that a women, tech founder would face or is probably the common narration. I've been, I guess, lucky, but yeah, I haven't really faced as such any challenges just because I'm a woman that way. Only thing that I would probably like to change is, or would like to see more of it is that more women participation in tech table or tech, circle. So whenever I go and be part of any round table where there, a lot of founders, usually I am the only one on the table, which I find little intimidating at times. So which
Mhm.
I would like to change a little bit more, that I hope that very soon we have 50-50 representation in those roundtables, on conferences where the focus is only on AI or tech, or startups. So that would be really amazing.
Wow. So my next question is related to mindset shift. Moving from corporate role to entrepreneurship, what was the biggest mindset shift you underwent?
Biggest mindset shift. So, one is the safety net. Like in corporate, you keep on getting that salary, which is a big addiction, frankly. Like, and suddenly you realize, especially on the first of the month, like, oh, you don't have that, salary now. So that comfort that you kind of leave behind. And and then you realize that only you are that one person, who is like riding that bicycle or that scooter or whatever, जितना चलोगे उतना वो भागेगा बस उतना ही है and there is no other big processes, the entire ecosystem who's pulling you. So in corporates there's so much of system processes that even anybody, not anybody but everybody kind of delivers some portion of it, right? But in a
Hmm.
startup there is no such structure. You have to bring all that structure, you have to bring all that discipline, conviction, everything that is spoken about, and day in and day out you have to practice it. And if you kind of miss the mark on one thing, it just drops. So that has been, I think, the biggest challenge in terms of my mindset that I had to shift, like leaving that safety, that predictability, that like हो जाएगा, ये तो होना ही है, हम नहीं तो कोई और कर लेगा, or that phase.
Wow. So what leadership lessons from Amazon and American Express shaped your founder's journey?
Uh, so American Express was a very different organization that I worked for, and I loved being there. And I also, like, that was also my first company when I moved to London. So like first multicultural cultural organization that I worked for. There are two things that I kind of, like have now become part of my DNA, and also I think has become part of now Policy Index DNA. One is community. So they have this thing called Blue Box, and they really, really value the relationships, right? Another is that they are so compliant, so for example, I was looking after their UK consumer cards display channel acquisition for the consumer cards, right? Now, as a marketeer, I always have a target that, I need to get certain acquisitions. But they were always sensitive, in not just in the letter of the law, but in the intent of the law, that you cannot oversell, you cannot cross sell, you cannot, say it wrong. And this was not just coming from the compliance legal guys, but this was part of those people, like everybody was, working in there. So every communication that we used to send out, because we had to be very clear and ensure that like these are financial products, and if being used in a wrong way, somebody who cannot afford a credit card and takes a credit card, they can get into a debt cycle, right? So those kind of things they were really really aware of, like, which kind of like, wow, such a big organization and not so, I mean, still hungry but still so ethical, and Amazon, I think, is a completely different organization. The way they work, their principles, everything, I think, have shaped me and have left, a deep mark into the way I work, the backward thinking, customer obsession, writing everything down, like I also now also make, one pagers so that I know that whatever I'm writing is actually, I'm applying my critical thinking and not just, rushing everything out. So yeah, I mean, both these organizations have been fantastic that way. So
Wow. So, uh, how has IIM Ghaziabad impacted your work, and how has it helped in your policy index journey?
So IMT Ghaziabad. IMT Ghaziabad, came at my life when I was working, with a startup after doing my master's in environmental studies. And while I was doing that, working at that startup, I kind of realized, oh, I don't know the business jargon, but I kind of really love what I'm doing at this startup. So let me kind of like, okay, sit for CAT and then, apply. And I got into IMT Ghaziabad. And in my 2 years journey, I think it kind of like really, really shaped me. Like on a personal level, I had like so much fun, like so much fun. Like first time living away in a hostel, I could like, I was like, wow, like this is also, part of life, and this is how you also enjoy, college and everything. But apart from that, the education, the rigor, the discipline. I mean, we were delivering what like it was like 3 months. Trimester that we had, and within that we had 7, 8 subjects. Then we had this project work, case work, this, that, the way they groomed us, for everything that we had to face in corporate life. I think that is what IMT Ghaziabad, gave us. And even after graduating from there, they have not left our hand. So there's a wide alumni community. And in fact, today from where I'm recording this podcast is also the IMT Lounge, and it has been like, like my savior in a way, because I don't have to pay as such, for such a wonderful facility that our alumni has, given us. And and the network, I mean, amazing people. I have to just drop a message and there will be at least 10 hands, out there to support us, just like, parents would be doing that for us.
That's beautiful. So you got featured in Times of India. What was the recognition about, and how did it impact your work and life?
So it was the recognition about, women building in AI. And it was, I think, my first feature ever. I, at the first, actually thought that it's a prank, or, like, some kind of spammy email. Like, I was like, how can, I mean, somebody just reach out just randomly to do a feature, and so couple of things, it helped me, like reinforce the confidence that I am doing whatever I'm doing is in the right direction. And at sometimes you need that reinforcement, that assurance. And another is that recognition for policy index, which was amazing. And so I got a lot of leads, a lot of, conversations started around, policy index because of that. So it has been a wonderful chapter, I think, something that I've also like kept at my home, framed. So,
Wow.
yes.
So where do you see PolicyIndex.ai in the next 5 years?
Hopefully, we'll be the market leaders in India. We would like, be the most recognized name in the public policy and government affairs. And even we would be in the finance and economics. So wherever, people have to research anything about government. they have to write a paper or anything, we will be their go-to source. Just like, Bloomberg is in America, like such a trusted data source. So yes.
Wow, beautiful. So my last question for our professional journey round, what advice would you give to women aspiring to build an AI policy and tech domains?
Just take the first step and the rest will follow, and keep going. Like, don't think about what will happen in 5 months, 10 months, 5 years. Don't think about how will you balance this or that. We are more than what we kind of think, and just take the first step and keep taking those steps. And one day you will look behind, and probably you'll be talking about, like, okay, this is what I have done, and you'll actually feel proud of whatever you have achieved. So.
Beautiful. So let's go to next round and understand Tripti as a person. Tell us about a family and your formative years.
Okay, so I have been born and brought up in a joint family where I was living with my, three uncles, my parents, and my aunt. So my lot, we had like seven cousins. We were seven cousins living in one single family, and so for me, family has always been, this huge and very, close knit, typical, business family, Bania business Delhi family, this. But in our generation, the focus was completely on, education. And education, like my parents, especially my father, was completely obsessed with my, education. And sometimes when I look back, where I got this seed of ambition is, I think, from my father. Like, he always said that you have to do something. Like, it is not just that you will just get married, right? Like, that you will do, but that is not just your life goal. Like, you have to work hard, you have to study, you have to also study really well, and you have to do something. So I think that's what has, like the ambition. And my mother has always, supported me in all the ways. Like, she was also very clear कि boss, पढ़ाई हो जाएगी, सब कुछ हो जाएगा. She never, but पढ़ना है. I don't remember anything else, being focused in my life other than this. So
Beautiful.
that, I think, has shaped me as a person, like, hard work and studying and doing everything that diligently, like, you have to do it kind of stuff.
Wow. So which is your hobby or interest which helps you to unwind and recharge?
Eating good food, like going to really nice restaurants, is something that I really, really enjoy. Then off lately, I've started enjoying, gardening. I mean, not a garden per se. In a balcony, I have, few plants which I kind of like to take care of, and I have, 4-year-old, which kind of like doesn't, I mean, he's the joy of my life and the love of my life. And, like, I just spend all my free time with him. And with kids, like, you just don't know, you're always refreshed. Like, the things they talk about, things they do, and you're like, wonder, wow, ye kya kar rahe
Okay.
hain?
So my next one is, what got you interested in doing MSc in environmental science from School of Environmental Studies, and how has it been your memories and experience?
Oh, what got me inspired? Okay, so so I did BSc from Daulat Ram College, where I specialized in, like, I studied life sciences. It was a mix of, all the sciences, like chemistry, physics, etc., etc. And while I was there, I got introduced to environmental sciences. Again, not the one that we kind of, study in school. And I sat for the entrance, got selected, and, got into the environmental studies school. And frankly, for the first time, and I still remember this to date, I cannot forget the first lecture that we had by our professor Mihir Dev, where he said, like, have you ever wondered, like, why A is written like that? You know, have you ever thought about that? Ki aise hi kyun likha? Like, why is it written just like that? Okay. Another is that I always remember from our professor is to, like, before that, I would believe everything that a newspaper will say, like a gospel, right? Like, जो लिखा है वो that is the truth, because never ever I'd put my brain behind it, like, who is writing it, why it's been written. That's when I understood at MSc that, like, okay, and everything that is being written is written by someone, and that someone has some opinion, some biases, some thoughts that are also getting incorporated into whatever you're writing. And so it's very important that when you form an opinion, read both the sides or multiple sides and then form an opinion, so that you know that wherever you're forming an opinion, it's an informed one and not just, anything that you've just read and stating it out. So it gave me a lot of critical thinking. Um, it has been, I mean, till I think BSc, it was mostly like rote learning, like you study something, you learn, and then you kind of do it, just reproduce it in exam in some or the other format, right? Largely. But masters in environmental studies has been a game changer for me. I had never seen such intellectual people where I could just talk to them on any topic. Like the professors were just amazing. Like I told you, that was something that I can never ever forget in my life, like what I actually studied there and the way they shaped me as a critical thinker.
Wow. So if your friends had to describe Tripti in 3 words, what would they say?
Oh, 3 words? Well, for that, I think you should ask them. But I think they would describe me as enterprising, somebody who stands up for their friends and family, and I think karm yogi, like they say, that I really work hard and I really believe in action. So
Wow. Good. So Tripti, what kind of books or content do you personally love consuming?
uh, it changes actually with mood, so I really like enjoying reading, light reads, with the storytelling, fiction. I really enjoy. These days, I'm enjoying, like a book which is called Mindset by Carol Dweck, which I find very heavy. I can end up like reading 2, 3 pages, and then I think it helps me sleep better, I guess. And then these days, I'm also enjoying reading a lot of children's books. I read to my son, and I'm finding it like they do have lessons for us also. Like sometimes, the way they simplify a lot of stuff, which is quite refreshing. So it's a mixed bag, of genres. So.
Since you're a Delhiite, let's make you a tour guide. What are the places to check in, food to have, and restaurants to visit?
Oh, thank you for asking that. That's like one of my passion. Like whenever anybody comes to Delhi, that's like my personal thing. Like I would like to make an itinerary कि ये तो जाना ही पड़ेगा. So I think since I'm a Delhiite and my family has roots in Chandni Chowk, like you I think have to start from Chandni Chowk. In Chandni Chowk also there are like various spots. So for example, if you want to have chole kulche or chole kachori, which is in Mumbai, similar to ragda patties, but little bit spicier and everything. Okay, the ragda part of it, right? So that you get in Naisadak. Then there is I don't know how do you describe it in like English, banta, which is like mojito or whatever, but the Indian style banta. That again you have that at Naisadak the moment you move, and then there is this fruit chaat. The when you move, to the it sits near the SBI corner. Then this chole kulcha again, which you find at Lote ki chaat and all. No, there are multiple places, and my favorite that has been like Makhan Halwai, where you find a very niche, Delhi dish, which not many people know, which is Halwa Nagari, and then various sweets that you have to eat. Then for cafes and all, multiple places, and every now and then something new opens up. But my go-to places are like Hoskars Village. I love the ambience. I just love, the way everything feels there. Or now Gurgaon has become like my favorite spot, like to eat out, and very new happening places, opening these days. So lot of places. If you're coming to Delhi, let me know. I'll design your itinerary based on whatever you like.
Cool, cool. Pakka. Chalo. Next two ones are reflective. Since this is a Sri Shakti series, what
Hmm.
does Sri Shakti mean to you?
Stree Shakti means to me, I guess my mother, and yeah, my mother, I think. I mean, she's very courageous in every aspect of life. Life has thrown a lot of challenges, but I've never seen her wavering from anything. and the way she supported me and my family, my brother, and everything. And then I think my mother-in-law also, like the way she's, so these are, people who are like, the silent supporters in your journey, like who are doing a lot, but they generally are not being talked about. And the way she's, I am sitting here today, it's almost like evening, and she's out there, looking after my son, my family, like everybody, like things that probably I'm supposed to do. And then she's, the engine behind me, kind of being able to do anything that I'm able to do.
Beautiful. So last one is googly one. Describe Tripti in one word.
In one word, okay. No. How about Karm Yogi? I think that's how I want to see myself these
Beautiful.
days, and how I see myself these days. Yeah.
So let's put you in the hot seat, the rapid fire round. Your
Okay.
go-to comfort food.
Pulao.
Wow. Your favorite color.
Black.
Your favorite Marwadi cuisine.
Marwadi cuisine. Dal bati.
Wow. Early mornings or late nights?
Neither. I work best when I wake up at 7:30 a.m. Like that's my window to start my day.
Wow. Travel planning or last minute trips?
Now travel planning. Can't do last minute trips with a 4-year-old.
I know. Your dream travel place?
Um, I do have traveled there, but I still love to travel there. It's Italy. I just love that place. It's like a foodie's heaven. And trust me, like I will actually, diet for I think a month, lose a lot of weight. Probably not, but I will definitely diet before going because I just don't want to stop eating there.
Yes, I can understand. Best piece of advice received?
Hmm. Oh. The best piece of advice is something that I think I received from my father very recently. In Hindi, he said like, keep going. There's a very Hindi way of saying it कि बस करते रहो और अपने आप रास्ता अनफोल्ड हो जाएगा एंड यू डोंट हैव टू वरी अबाउट कि 3 महीने बाद क्या होगा जस्ट कीप गोइंग एंड द मार्केट हैज अ वे टू प्ले एंड you will find your way.
Very true. So last one, tea or coffee to recharge?
Coffee, yes.
Yeah, the coffee show.
Cheers.
Yeah. So you did well, and here's your gift, which will be autographed and sent to you. So
Oh, thank you.
as we conclude this episode, Tripti's journey reminds us that strength is not always loud. Sometimes it is strategic, thoughtful, and deeply intentional. From corporate leadership to building a policy intelligence platform, she exemplifies courage backed by clarity. Her story is a testament to modern womanhood where intelligence meets empathy, innovation meets integrity, and ambition meets impact. So, like that, there are 1000 plus coffee speakers who have shared their professional personal journeys. Subscribe to the Coffee Corner Show on YouTube. You can also listen on Spotify. So, implement those insights in your life. See a better 2026. And we continue a conversation with another speaker or cup of coffee. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.